Happy Saturday. It is October 3rd, back up at the hangar to do some more work. Today is working on the elevator skins and the elevator frame. We've got a couple things to do. We need to flute these end ribs. Got some cleanup to do on these parts, get the stickers off, take the tape, get all the residue off of that. We've got our items that need to be pressed. We've got a bearing that needs to be pressed into this elevator horn. We've got the bushings that need to go into the hinges, and then we'll need to remount the hinges for the correct size for the bolt. But we're going to get started on that. I'll clean up and I'll check back in. So on these ribs, you have to, when they do the forming, it puts a curve in the aluminum, and you want that to be flat. So you have to use a pair of fluting pliers. Those are the fluting pliers, and you just go along here and you flute these so that it takes the bend out of this. And when you do it, you just flute it just enough where it starts to lift that corner of that metal right there, that very end corner. Just like that. I actually probably got that very first one a little bit too much. Okay, we have to press this bearing into elevator horn, so I'm just using a hydraulic press to get this done. Been here once already, tried to do it with this piece of wood right here, and it kind of started to go crooked, so I tap it out and try it again. There we go. That's a lot better. Yep, so we got that there. And then we'll put a rivet in here. There's a rivet, and you do a washer on the other side just to make sure that that gets retained in there. Alright, so we have to also, the hinges, aileron hinges have to have these brass flange bushings pressed in. Oh, sorry, in your way. Those go in really easy. Like so. So the bushings that you put in these hinges, one of the reasons you have to ream it out is because before you ream it out, it fits great. Or I'm sorry, before you press it, it fits great. And after you press it, it's too tight to fit in there, so you just have to ream out just the little tiniest bit. That's good. Okay, we've got our hinges all done. Flanges pressed in, reamed, sized up, and now we are clecoing the frame for the aileron together. Okay, one thing you have to do on the elevator horn is after you press the bearing in, you have to put a rivet in here. So you put a rivet in with a washer on one side and a rivet with a washer on the other, and that just retains the bearing. Retains the bearing in there in case it should come loose over time, but it was super tight going in, so it should be good, but that's just a backup. On the elevator horn, you have to transfer drill all of these holes through the rib on both ribs. There's one that goes on this side, and then we'll cleco the other one onto this side and transfer drill those out. Okay, getting ready to rivet the frame together, the elevator frame. We've got it flipped over the other way from what is in the directions, so we got to remember we're backwards on stuff. But one thing you don't do is these two rivets on the front of the horn are where the part of the trim tab hinge attaches, and that comes later. So they tell you to not rivet that. We've got it clecoed up so that we've got that ready to go. So I just put some tape around it so I'd remember to not rivet those together. But we're getting ready. We got everything clecoed up, ready to go, and just reviewing all of our diagrams and instructions, and we'll make sure we get the correct rivet numbers in here, and we'll get going on that. Well, we're getting ready to rivet up the frame and ran into a question on it, a mystery. So when you rivet anything that is going through 3 layers in this structure, oops. So we've got this piece here, we've got the spar, and we've got a rib on the back. So anything that rivets through those 3 layers uses a AAPQ-42 rivet, and if it's only going through 2 layers, it's going to use a -41 rivet. The parts manual calls for, well, the parts manual says that we need 20 of the -42 rivets. We can only find 16 places on this elevator where it's going to need a -42. Everywhere else is a -41. So posted up a question on the builders Facebook group, and see if we get an answer from that. Other than that, it's kind of a mystery. Not quite sure why they're calling, or why they're saying we're going to need 20 when we only need 16. But anyways, that's where we're at right now. Okay, so riveting up this rib and this nose. First we have to take this out.
We got it all fitted up and ready to go.
And then we're riveting this. Oops. And I gotta take these out. I gotta take these clecos out so I can get this out of the way so I can rivet this. Move that out of the way. And you have to take the little catch cup off the back of the riveter to get it to fit in here. And we can rivet the forward, the rib to the forward spar. There you go. Okay, frame riveting is done. Next step is we're installing nut plates in here for the trim tab servo. So there's a nut plate that goes on the bottom side of this, so we got to use some really tiny Gonna use some really tiny, where's those rivets at?
Little tiny.
Little itty bitty rivets that go in there. Hold that in. So I'll get that.
New head on?
Oh, I gotta put the other head on there. Let's see. Switching from a 1/8 head down to a 3/32 head on this riveter. Yeah. So if that mandrel was pushed through,
Yeah.
and you pull the trigger on the riveter, it wouldn't. More bend tab trimming. Got the two. These are the two outer skins for the elevator, and then the trim tab goes in between. But we've got the two skins here, and they've got bend tabs on. So we'll nip those off, trim it, clean it up, and rivet it up. Well, we're wrapping things up for the evening here. We got our top skin clecoed on to the elevator, and we're just started on getting prep for the elevator trim tab. I forgot I needed to prime some parts. There's a splice that goes on the top of this that I just primed. There's a spar for this trim tab that goes inside of here that I did a prime on, and then there are a couple of horns that go on here from the trim servo that needed to be primed before we put those on. So kind of a good stopping point. Got those primed, and we'll let those cure overnight, and we'll be back up tomorrow at some point. Let's see, stuff today we learned about the rivet count. I'm not sure why that rivet count is off. The parts list calls for 20 of the -42 rivets, which is a longer rivet. Both of us could only find reference in the book for 16 of the rivets, of the longer rivets, and that's like through areas like right here, that there's a spot there. There's a spot there where it goes through three sections of metal. Anyways, yeah, couldn't figure out. Posted it up on the Facebook group. We'll see if anybody has any ideas on that. What else? We got skins clecoed on. What's that?
It was a revision.
It was a revision in the manual for the ribs that go inside of the trim tab. They, instead of oriented all the same direction, they specify left and right ribs. So that kind of stumped us for a little bit till we figured out that there had been a revision on that. And got that squared away, figured out, and that's when we got to the point of needing to prime those parts. So, is that about it? Didn't really have to do much. Had to do another bend tab cleanup on this. You've seen that. You've seen that multiple times. Yep, and we did it on those skins there, bend tabs on there. You've seen that done before, so I didn't even bother to do that. Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. Give me a comment, any questions or comments, please leave those. And if you like what I'm doing, hit the like button, subscribe if you want to subscribe. I'm kind of starting to get into doing these videos. They're kind of fun. So anyways, that's it for now.